Well, it's noon here in Lagos, Nigeria. Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics. I'm Kayode Okikelu. Well, these are the major political stories making the rounds at this hour. Again, federal government says it empathizes with the citizens, especially the poor, as it insists that some of the policy decisions and options, although painful, are almost inevitable, promising to ensure stability. And flood ravaged 200 communities in Kogi State as the state government appeals to the federal government and international donor agencies to come to their aid. We'll bring you live updates from Kogi State on the show. Let's get right into it. Amidst the economic challenges faced by Nigerians, the federal government says it empathizes with the citizens, especially the poor. The Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, stated this in Abuja while representing President Bola Tinubu at the Nigerian Economic Summit. Also, the Vice President of the World Bank, Mr. Indermit Gill, says that Nigeria's reforms between 2003 and 2007 led to impressive economic growth, which was not sustained, leading millions of Nigerians into poverty. Our correspondent, Benny Ark, reports.
And this is my first time.
The 30th Nigerian Economic Summit is themed Collaborative Action for Growth, Competitiveness and Stability. The summit brings together key stakeholders to discuss and proffer solutions to Nigeria's economic challenges. Among those in attendance is Vice President Kashim Shettima, members of the Federal Executive Council, captains of industry, as well as development partners. The summit, which is jointly organized by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, and the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, is considered a reflection of the need for partnership to address the nation's economic challenges.
Today's challenges demand a new approach centered on collaboration to promote growth, competitiveness, and stability.
Before we seek cooperation and understanding of the broad spectrum of the citizenry, as there is indeed light at the end of the tunnel. The economy is facing the right direction, and the decline has been arrested. What has been achieved is a result of boldness, resilience, and collaboration. And thus, we need more to compensate for the decades of underinvestment and to ensure that we deliver a collaborative, competitive, and stable environment.
The Vice President of the World Bank, Mr. Indermit Gill, who is also the Chief Economist of the International Financial Institution, has some concerns about Nigeria's economy.
Without solid progress in Nigeria, the Sustainable Development Goals that we all talk about will remain out of reach. Nigeria, after all, is now the country with the largest number of people living in extreme poverty, not just in Africa, but across the world. But Nigeria's reforms from 2003 to 2007 were exactly what was needed, but they were not sustained. Today's fiscal, monetary, and exchange rate reforms are hurting everyone, especially ordinary Nigerians who are struggling with the high prices of food and transport. The government must do everything in its power to protect the most vulnerable citizens against hardships because their lives and the lives of Nigeria's 110 million children depend on it.
Vice President Kashim Shettima represented President Bola Tinubu at the summit, and he explains how the administration's reforms will ensure long-term stability.
The present administration, through the Renewed Hope agenda, has embarked on bold and courageous reforms designed to create an environment that fosters sustainable economic growth and shared prosperity. Our focus is on sectors that can offer inclusive and sustainable growth, such as agriculture, manufacturing, and the digital economy. We have initiated various programs, such as the MSME hubs and single-digit loans for manufacturers designed to provide entrepreneurs with the support they need to succeed. We have also introduced the credit cooperation to offer our workers consumer loans with single-digit interest. These initiatives collectively will boost the economy and ensure it remains competitive in Africa and globally.
The Nigerian Economic Summit 30th anniversary provides a platform for policymakers, business leaders, and stakeholders to discuss and propose solutions to Nigeria's economic challenges.
Well, let's now talk about the sub-nationals, particularly in Anambra State, where Governor Chukwuma Soludo has been speaking on the issue of local government autonomy, particularly how the monies allocated to the local government are being spent. During a state media briefing at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia, the governor said the Supreme Court allows for a structured collaboration between the state and the local government authorities, and until another law is given, which he says may suit the aspirations of some people, the law, as prescribed by the Supreme Court, will hold sway in Anambra State. He then announced the establishment of the Anambra State Economic Board with relevant stakeholders, including the mayors of 21 local government areas, as members of the State Economic Board. The governor, Professor Soludo, had earlier signed into law the Anambra State Electoral Amendment Law 2024, the Anambra State Local Government Administration Law 2024, and the Anambra State Economic Planning and Development Law 2024. Of course, we'll be bringing you more on what Professor Chukwuma Soludo said about local government autonomy in Anambra State. But let's talk elections now. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Ondo State says that the commission is now in possession of non-sensitive electoral materials ahead of next month's governorship election in the state. The commission has also assured residents of Ondo State that their votes will count in the November 16th election. Well, the resident electoral commissioner for the state, Oluwatoyin Babalola, stated this at a workshop on effective communication for staff of the commission organized by the International Press Center held in Ikogosi, Ekiti. He also reaffirmed the commission's preparedness for the conduct of the poll. So, that's on the end of INEC, but how are political parties gearing up for this election? Well, we have joining us on the program a member of the Ondo State Campaign Council for the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Bola Ilori, joins us virtually on the program. You're welcome to Lunchtime Politics, Mr. Ilori.
Thank you very much.
Well, we had the People's Democratic Party on the show yesterday, but just before we get to some of the issues raised, I'd like you to speak to what INEC has been saying about the conduct of that election. Just 1 month and 1 day to that all-important election. INEC says it is ready. Are you confident about INEC's preparedness and eventually what will happen on that day? Does it give you confidence, at least from what INEC has said?
Yeah, so far so good. There has been no disruption. All has been going to expectation of all the political parties in the state. So we only hope that this will continue to be what we witness throughout the duration of the campaigns and eventually the elections. So for now, it has been smoothly sailed by INEC, and everybody has no complaint for now.
All right. Well, the rubber will meet the road next month, and of course, we'll again review that position. But let's talk about the politics of the elections itself. The opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, had accused your government, the APC government, in the state of denying them access to use a Democracy Park for their all-important campaign launch, which happens today. They've since gotten another venue, and they say that, well, it's as a result of the showing of your party when you launched your campaign. They said that you didn't want the PDP to overshadow them, which is why the APC government didn't allow the use of the park. What do you have to say?
Anybody that has any interest in politics in Nigeria will know that PDP, for now, is not a party that is organized. It's divided within itself, not to even talk of against other people. So you can understand their frustration. Let me say that their position is laced with huge dose of mischief. If you go to Democracy Park as we speak now, I've been there in person, and I saw that another group of people are currently using the space. I mean, you could tell your reporter to go and look. This is very viable. The group is called TLG. They have applied for the usage of Democracy Park before the PDP came. It is their usual tardiness that did not make them apply on time. You know, they are a party that is not given to any kind of orderly conduct of anything, be it their own process, be it the process they need to engage with other people. And that was what had led them to the issue. They applied late after some other people had applied for the usage of the park. And there is no way any sensible organization will put two different political groups at the same venue for the same day, the same time. So it doesn't make sense. And Ondo State government offered them the choice of other venues that are available for that time, or they could pick the next day, which will be tomorrow, when the park will be free, or any other day of their choice. But they know that they don't have the crowd to fill Democracy Park. Democracy Park is not a very small space. And PDP today is a party in disarray. So they know that they can't fill any of the available venue. So they hide under the fact that that is when they want the place to be used. We say, okay, pick another day or pick another venue.
Right.
The Assembly Park is also a very large place that they can also pick. The Akure City Town Hall is also there. So many venues that is still under the control of the government were offered them. They rejected because they lack the crowd to fill the space. So forget all the shenanigans that they have been talking about.
That's quite interesting, Mr. Ellery. Right. That's very interesting because the PDP also describes this as shenanigans, underhand tactics, and gimmicks just to stifle opposition. But I want us to speak to something that concerns the people of the state now. I know the politics will be ongoing, but then the people look to see good governance, right? They don't quite care about the politics. As far as they get good governance, I think the people will be fine. So what does Governor Aiyedatiwa have to show to prove to the people that he's deserving of being elected governor? Let's take the minimum wage, for instance. How is his performance? Is he already paying the minimum wage? So these are tangibles that people will say, okay, if he's been able to do this, then he probably would be able to do more if we elect him.
Let me tell you, even before minimum wage became formalized, when issue of rising cost of living became an issue, he introduced support for the workers without even waiting for the federal government or the entire country to decide on what the wages will be. So you will see that this is somebody who is genuine in his concern for the people. He has the welfare of the people at heart, knowing that governance is about the welfare of the people. And he had shown commitment to workers' welfare from day one. All the outstanding salaries that were owed by previous government, PDP government or former PDP government owed salaries, 7 months salaries. This man has cleared it. That's a lucky Aiyedatiwa. He has cleared all the outstanding.
So when will
he did not wait for he did not wait for federal government to even legitimize 70,000. He paid support, and now he's not even paying 70,000. He's paying 73,000 naira. So
when will the? I know the announcement has been made, even though the PDP is kicking against it. That why wait till now to announce? Basically, a tactic to get him, elected. But when will he start paying? Announcement is one thing. The people getting the money is yet another thing. So when will the people start receiving that?
Those state worker had been getting. So PDP is either they are not conversant with what is going on in the state, they are not conversant with anything anyway. That's why they will be raising the issue. I said this man, and it's in the public domain, that he has been paying support, which is even, if you ask what they have been getting, it's even more than what as we are now. It's also now that the payment is structured. And you can be sure that by the end of the month, they will be getting what the governor has announced. It's a very simple matter. The end of the month is nearby. That's when payment will start. Payment cannot, it did not announce a retrospective payment. So payment will surely start at the end of the month. And he has shown commitment even before this announcement. So it's not as if he's just doing it for political gain. What they had paid as a buffer for the workers is more than what we are even debating. The PDP are just not conversant about what is happening in Ondo State. Well, the coming weeks will be, very decisive, but particularly for the people of the state. I think this is a period where they will eventually make their choice. Whether or not they will come out to vote is another thing, because we've seen a trend of voter apathy. I think the onus is on political parties, the actors, to ensure that the messaging is a messaging of peace and it is issue-based, right? So we'll definitely be following. Let me tell you that, those states, people will be happy and enthusiastic to vote. Why? Ondo State is largely a farming state. And farmers are doing well now. I mean, we are not oblivious of what is happening in terms of the economy of the country. But you will realize that farmers are doing well now because most of what we farm in Ondo State are cash crop. Our cash crop are bought in dollar, are purchased in dollar. Well, Mr. Lorry, we have to anchor at this point, but we'll have a sit down, perhaps with the governor, go through some of his policies and take a look at them deeply, from the economy to infrastructure, agriculture, and all of that. But we have to thank you so much. And I can assure you that you will meet a very fantastic, erudite, ebullient, and very articulate governor. Okay, Mr. Bola Lorry, a member of the Ondo APC Campaign Council, thank you for your time on the program. You're welcome. We'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll turn our attention to the situation in Kogi State. 200 communities impacted as a result of floods. Well, we'll give you some more updates in a moment, so stay with us. Welcome back to the program. The Kogi State government is appealing to the federal government and international donor agencies to come to the aid of the state as flood sacks over 200 communities. Addressing newsmen at Kotonkarfe Kogi local government, the State Commissioner for Information and Communication, Mr. Kingsley Fawo, said a major humanitarian crisis is brewing in the state as close to 2 million people are currently homeless. He said the National Emergency Management Agency cannot afford to wait any longer as the state is already overwhelmed. Well, the Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Kogi State Honorable Sunday Faleke, joins us on the show now to give us an update of the situation. You're welcome to Lunchtime Politics. The messaging coming out, 200 communities affected. Oh, that's a lot. So perhaps you can give us the latest update now with the humanitarian figures. We've seen the number of displaced, but do we have people who are missing, the casualty figures, just a rounded picture of a situation?
Yeah, good afternoon, Kayode, and good afternoon, Nigeria. We are having a serious matter at hand in Kogi State as it relates to this flood matter. Flood is a natural disaster and is a disaster for the nation at hand now. Presently in Kogi State, we have 9 local governments that this flood is being affected, and 42 camps has been opened for our citizens. His Excellency Alhaji Ahmed Usman Ododo, the chief servant of the state, has stated that he wants every hand to be on deck to ensure that our citizens is not being affected by this flood beyond normal. He has opened this camp. He has set up team. Our EOC has been opened. That's the Emergency Operations Center. Our camp management team, as we speak, they are on camp. We have 11 camps in Lokoja local government. We have 6 camps in Kogi local government. We have 6 camps in Ajakuta local government. We have camps in Ibaji local government. And we have camps in Omala local government. We thank the hydrological agency who has been giving us the level of water per day. The report has shown that we are in red alert as we speak. and relief materials are being conveyed also to those camps to ensure we provide support for citizens who will be affected by this flood.
So speak to us about this situation with NEMA then, seeing the commissioner saying that NEMA cannot afford to wait any longer. That's the National Emergency Management Agency. There's a State Emergency Management Agency, which I understand has been doing some work. So what is the situation with NEMA?
Presently, for this 2024 flood activities, we've not received anything from the National Emergency Management Agency. Although the team from National Emergency Management Agency has been in the state pre-flood to do the pre-flood assessment. But during this flood program, we've not seen them, we've not received any item from them, and that is why we are calling on to them to ensure they come to the aid of the state, and well-meaning Nigerians also to come to the aid of the state to ensure that we nip this matter quickly to avoid the effects of this flood on our citizens.
Well, for those who have been tracking the budget for events like this, ecological funds, they'll say, there's hundreds of millions available to the state government. So is it that the monies have been expended? If they have been, how much has been spent so far? For those who are tracking the money, is the government able to really defend its spending, ecological fund, and for disasters such as this?
Of course, the government of Ahmed Usman Ododo has always been an accountable government. He's a transparent man. You can see that in some of the activities he's doing. On 8th of this month, he ordered the opening of access road to ensure that we have alternative road to people who will be affected by the flood on the Ganaja axis of our road. Funds are being expended on this flood matter as it comes to the states, especially those that come from ecological fund, as the case may be. Our books are open to the citizen and the public to come and review. He's a transparent man.
So give us a peek into the books. How much has come in so far?
As far as information available to me, I don't know the amount that has come to the state, but I know the governor has spent so much on this flood.
Well, if your books are open, then I imagine that you've taken a peek into it so we can get a sense of that. But, checking the forecast, naturally, just as an average citizen, you'll have seen the prediction, right, for Kogi State. In fact, if you check right now, you'll see that there may still be more floods coming for Thursday. So it looks like the worst is not over. But from the government side, we've had predictions at the government level. The agencies responsible have given predictions. Just weeks ago, we had a recent prediction of the flooding. And it was just about the time when we saw the whole EFCC, former Governor Yaya Bello and the current Governor Ododo drama, right? Just at that point, there was a prediction and Kogi was mentioned. So it looked like that event overshadowed that. We've also seen flooding in Kogi State. In fact, I think the recent one affected the movement of petroleum products. So there was scarcity of petrol as a result of that. So this is not something that just happened by chance or without notice. So give us a peek into what the government did to prepare for this on time, either individually or collaborating with other agencies.
Kayode, as I have just told you, flood is a natural disaster and is an emergency matter. When we have a disaster of this nature, there are 3 stages to it. There is pre-disaster event, there is during the disaster, and there is post-disaster activities. All the pre-disaster activities has been handled by the state government with little support from NEMA, stakeholder meeting, sensitization, meeting the community, marking of houses that we know properties, both government and individual properties we know the flood might affect, based on the prediction from NIMAT and the Hydrological Agency. All these pre-flood activities were handled by the state and it cost funds. Also, when we talk about during the flood, I just informed you that camps has been opened, camp management teams are on ground. Yeah. One of the video I've sent to you, you will see the executive secretary of the Kogi State Emergency Management Agency communicating with the people, telling them to move to the upland to ensure this flooding meet them in their respective houses.
Right.
The Ministry of Education, the Commissioner of Education is part of the committee. He has ensured that some of the schools we will be using are well maintained and available for the citizens to use during these flood activities.
So quickly, as we wind down, pardon me because of time. Pardon me. I just wanted you to speak to what is needed right now. We have 30 seconds to close. So you're calling federal government, international donor agencies. What is the most pressing need right now for the people?
The pressing need is the challenge of maintaining our citizens who are being affected. We have over 200 community affected.
Yeah.
200 is just you see, we say at least 200 houses or 200 community. In Kogi local government, we have over 70 community affected. In fact, the entire Ibaji local government is under the water because they are living below sea level in the axis. Lokoja local government, right from Kakanda, Budon, Egon, down to the main community here is being affected. Ajakuta local government, we have Grinya, we have Genuku. All these axes are underwater as we speak.
Well, this is a situation we'll keep following. Our hearts go out to the people affected, but definitely we're staying with this situation and we'll be coming back to you and the government from time to time for updates. But we'd like to thank you so much for the latest updates. We'll be speaking with the Commissioner for Special Duties in Kogi State, Honorable Sunday Faleke. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And just before we go, let's bring to you some of the things that Governor Chukwuma Soludo said about local government autonomy, particularly about how the funds will be expended and that body which is just set up, the Anambra State Economic Board. Take a listen.
Passed by the Progressive Anambra House of Assembly, seek to achieve three objectives. A, consistency with the Constitution and judgment of the Supreme Court. Enhance transparency and productive collaboration in a federation and the promotion of sustainable finance, democracy, and development at the local government. The laws seek to codify the collaborative arrangements to promote transparency and accountability. We seek to avoid ad hoc or arbitrary arrangements. We are building to last. The good news is that the eminent jurists at the Supreme Court did not outlaw collaboration and cooperation among the local governments. They didn't outlaw that in funding joint or common services, nor did it nullify Section 7 of the Constitution.
So there you go, Governor Soludo speaking about collaboration and some sort of cooperation between state and local government. Well, that's where we anchor on the show this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kayode Kikilu. Stay with Channels Television for all of your breaking news. Goodbye.
Stay connected to the world with Channels TV Podcast and get all the trending stories. Simply log on to channelstv.com, click on podcast, select the program of your choice, and listen.